Vacillation. The voice insisted he throw the first away, the one that appeared straight out of the blue, as he sat immersed in random qualia, near sleep on a train to Waterloo. Back home, he warmed to the task and began making adjustments and changing rhythms, tinkering away and teasing out a story that more or less anyone could follow. The third time round, there was little impetus and too much uncertainty. Without a voice, none of the tricks he could muster countered. It ended up crumpled, consigned to the bin. Then after a week, the serendipity of snow in a glass globe dragged him back to the fray. The voice was loud and clear. Knuckle down, be strong, and act without fear. Of course, in the morning, all bets were off. The field of play was strewn with clues and intimate allusions, yet stubbornly stayed, angular and awkward, a fraction out of kilter. A walk on the beach, he decided, but then caught himself in the rearview mirror. Of course, he thought, distance and reflection. He sighed with relief and selected a station, playing Beethoven's Sixths, and sat listening. A few subtle shifts, some delicate tweaks, and "That's it," he exclaimed, to no one in particular. "I reckon there's nothing left over to say." Or so it seemed, until the following day.
Beginnings. Here in this house, in a summer afternoon, feet up on the couch, a large yellow dahlia peeping through the window, observing me as I observe, I think. Here in the soft afternoon sun, I hear through the closed door, quite softly, I hear a small beginning, found phrases of piano notes, quite solemn, I think, and beautiful in their slow sojourning across the keyboard. Like shadows growing longer, I think. There are stops and starts, and then a gradual rush of fluidity. A little stream is slowly finding a new pathway down a darkening summer valley, hearing me as I hear it, I think.
close in, head bent to one side, tilted to the wave of an incoming tide. He takes in the vibrating stream. How wood will sing, leaning inward, ear to instrument. Like that, he's listening for sharp and flat what a moment makes, like a rhyme. Big bass and ear, unraveling time.
The elephant in the room. It's as if there is a switch, he observed, pressed down and into the on position, to bring into being a world that's filled with all that's seen when sunlight sings. A red-winged chair and a dining table, the kitchen radio playing the news, a view of the garden through double doors, and the plum trees gaudy blossoming. Small birds that mass and seem to fritter their minutes away inside the hedge, and the ever so distant dome of sky with its always changing cloudy scenes. When pressed up into the off position, not for you do they go on happening.
On Sundays and other days, this is a place of bells, cowbells in the pastures, church bells in the valley, bells on bicycles down mountain paths, sheep with bells in the mountains. Bells tell you the time and where to be and not to be, warning and summoning and sighting. They keep us all herded with tuneful tinkles.
Vase for Henry. In the morning hallway, light pale as dawn, news of your death. 5 fresh petals, frail on the foot-worn harlequin tiles, the last rose of our summer garden in the sky-blue vase, fallen. In the lemon-light hallway, the Chinese vase sentient as a clock.
Bottles of scent. Because the forgotten outweighs the remembered as an ocean a pond, the fleeting, the shadowed, the velleities that limn and almost correspond to what was once him or haunting day long, ineffable yet possible, who suddenly wake in the half-light of dawn to a rise and fall song that engenders recall of hands that you held, bottles of scent, a dress with blue flowers, the chair near the door, a cup of weak coffee, the voice that could call through window and wall, the voice that could solve the wounds and the gall.
The move. We moved here almost a year ago. We and the other creatures who are living here are all forgetful of our boundaries. This house is almost a tree, almost a beehive, almost a spiderweb, almost a house, almost a garden, almost a nest, almost ours, and almost theirs. It all gets muddled up in indecisive back and forth here and there, in and out. The barriers are somehow down. Lush creepers spill over sills, hide the house from the garden from the house. Startled bees get lost in the attic. Birds fly in through open doors or into closed ones as if not seen. Spiders are especially busy at breaking down the definitions and building fast new ones. No matter how hard I try to clear them out and stand my ground, insisting on some separation, back they come, promptly, energetically, come weaving busily surreptitious alphabets, bossy new words, elegantly articulated phrases of fine spit and silk.
At the farm dam, just the low, long sun, just the light now almost done, just the far-flung stars to come, just the soft wind on the face, just the plant shadows like dark lace, just a brief call, bird without trace, just a sky blue upturned boat, just the black heron's throaty note, just the frog's motley brown coat, just a cold dip of the big toe, just the rippling dam water now so low, just the darkness gathering so slow, just the very first star, just the fading sound of a distant car, just the mountains so blue-black and so far, just the time going slowly past, just the noisy car moving fast, just the cool and sweet silence at last, just the thought of your soft hand, just tracing patterns in the white bank sand, just between water's lapping edge and land, just the breeze rustling through the long grass, just your tangible absence that will not pass, just a skinny moon like a bangle of brass, just the words unsaid by the tongue, just the owl call left unsung, just the glass wind chime never rung, just the water's elusive diamond shimmer, just the quiet night becoming even dimmer, just a pale memory of a splashing swimmer.
Late Song. Knowing now what you now know, you had had no inkling of back then, could always be a reason for regret. Were you to think it might have been much better, say, to have observed a different self, now staring back from the room you know is always there, behind the mirror's sheen? Much better, say, to have lived some other being, to have been a different then, to have been alive elsewhere, elsewhen, to have existed in another dream, knowing as you know as a consequence, you'd not be in this when you're in. You'd not be as you are now being. You'd not be where you can now see, able to look back in this way, just as you're doing, and able to say to yourself, just as you're doing, this is the sum of everything you've recollected and forgotten, knowing now that most of what you've been has simply slipped away, that everything becomes as air, all the fictions and the vagaries that filled the space you were right there, that occupied the time of then, when looking at the room behind, the mirror's sheen where everything, your dreams, desires, and memories, must be relinquished constantly to get a constant life to sing, to be the you you've always been.
Not holding fast. For now, a tiny weeny bit of another vista to fill the head and heart and breath and being and seeing with lovely and ephemeral, fairy-like, twinkling light, sights and dispersing things that slip through fingers like water and air and dust, and no hands can hold, like real gold,